more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember. I'll be that more you gon' remember. To Harker Bay front line till the law call my number. I'll be that more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember, that's right. I'll be that more you gon' remember. To Harker Bay front line till the law call my number. If you a friend of the Moors, then you a friend of mine. I was told to watch my enemies, now hold my line. Those that speak against the prophet, they speak against me. And I'm speaking about the prophet over Drew Ali, who was the first to remind you and bind you back to Morocco, the mountains, Mississippi, and Quebec. Told you you wasn't black, proved it with straight facts. You tripping off trucks, you need to be tripping off that. Now here we go again, acting like you a slave. The same people talk European, I'm a babe. And look at that women buying European hair. No love for self, but do the men really care? Hell no, cause they got a love for Europe. Whole generation chasing pills, weed and syrup. Yeah, they love Lil Yachty, Tucci, Gucci, Kodak, Amigos, Ross, Lucid. But when the love for the woman look like your mother, I guess they say it's all black when it's under the cover. Now cypher, I'll be that more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember, that's right. I'll be that more you gon' remember. To Harker Bay front line till the law call my number. I'll be that more you gon' remember. I'ma be that more you gon' remember, that's right. I'll be that more you gon' remember. To Harker Bay front line till the law call my number. All you super scholars holler, this era for the workers. You ain't building on the ground, then you worse than a twerker. You look and sound.
You're in the mix with DJ Joey Duval on the ones and twos.
Check, check. What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? We about to get it popping. Yeah, yeah.
Sound white time is longer than a rope. And tonight, we must cut your throat fire. Pick up yourself in a competition. And can't defend the people. What a bam bam on a quick. Somebody go call the owner people quick. And jump and mustard in and I hear me quick. Somebody call the undertaker on a quick. And jump and just the dinner. See them a bring him out from the church. Lord, him can a madden down in the freezer.
Check, check, check.
Them sound and a crowd pleaser. Lord, after me sound and public alpha. On a quick, somebody don't call it on a people quick. I jump and mustard in and I hear me quick. Somebody don't call it on a people quick.
Y'all gonna love this one.
On a quick, go for your pan and water people quick. Wet him up and whip on the doctor. Boy, log him dead no matter. Tell you get my bring the wheelbarrow. Tell my the him get tomorrow on hear me. I do his family he bring grace sorrow. On a quick, somebody go call it on a people quick. A old pan must get in your people quick. Somebody go call it on a people quick. A jump and must get in ya. Cause them a push themselves and I go on like them right. On the only corners and don't come in on the light. Coughing me sound really out your eyesight. We are shocked, we are sing, we boom your light and the mic. Put you on the map, we are the people's guys. On a quick, somebody go call it on a people quick.
Check, check, check. Welcome to another edition of No Bull-ish TV. Today we got a special guest, and I'm letting y'all know this gentleman right here, he's been a mentor to many. I know I say it a lot that I have a mentor here, a mentor there. Almost every guest that I have on here basically taught me something. But this man right here, man, is a man amongst boys when we talking about this dog world, man. And I learned a lot from him by him basically just by his actions. You know, he definitely told me a lot, taught me a lot just by talking too. But by his actions, I learned just as much as anybody in the dog game. And it's an honor to have Mr. Daniel Broggin on. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. Can you hear me? Can you hear me good?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear you, man.
good. Yeah, I'm good, man. I appreciate you having me on. What's going on?
Hey,
Let's get to it.
hey, it's an honor to have you on. Hey, so I see you got the Capri Sun over there, man. So we know you got the kids, right? Don't hide it. Don't hide it. Don't hide it. Be proud of that, Joy, right there. Hey, so and you got the water too. You got the water to chase it down, man. Um, so you're not just a dog, man. You're a father. You're a husband. You're a football coach. Um, let us know a little bit about your life outside of the dog game and in the football world and school in the school world, education.
Shoot, man. I think it all kind of stems to the same thing, man. Just a person that always been the kind of person, never been stagnant. You know what I mean? Like in my life, period. Football has always been something that has opened up many doors. Football opened up the door to the American bully breed. In college, I saw one of these dogs just randomly, on a away trip. We're playing out in Philadelphia, and I saw one of these dogs, man, and when I saw the dog, happened to start doing some research, I gotta have it, you know what I mean? Like a pit bull on steroids type of ordeal. And I
Right.
was always younger. I always wanted to like break the stereotypes of like what people thought about other people. And, always had the pit bull terrier just because of, the stereotypes that came behind it, try to, educate people. And then when I saw this dog, I was so intrigued, man. I was so, interested to learn it, so I had to have one myself. So when I got it, and I just started to do my educational side and trying to pick it apart and things like that, I would just fall in love with it. So to backtrack, just when I got into the bully game, it was one of those things where it was, for me, it was like I had a plan. I had to show the world that I was not somebody that was just in it for the money, because I was broke. You know what I mean? I was just freshly out of college when I first got into it, trying to find my way, trying to play in the NFL, things like that. So I definitely didn't have the money to be out here trying to do no breedings and nothing like that. So I put every penny that I had into it, just showing dogs, ripping and running up and down the East Coast with some of my own stuff, handling, showing other people's dogs, just trying to build my name as somebody that really just cared about the breed. And then I always had in the back of my mind that I would try to climb the ladder and one day end up becoming a judge. So that kind of goes into my life as a whole, playing football in high school. Always knew I wanted to go to college, try to break the stereotype of a young kid that don't got a lot, he gonna be this, he gonna be that. I always wanted to just be like, I'm gonna prove him wrong. So, being able to go off to college, and then, when I was in college, I just kind of felt like God was tugging on my heart to try to use my experiences that I had gone through as a child, to kind of help other people get through those same experiences. So, once the football dream kind of closed, I think God brought education into my life. I knew I wanted to stay around the game of football, but I had a daughter at the time. So while having this daughter, I still had to make some money. I can't be out here trying to coach kids and I take care of my own kids. That ain't about to happen. So I dove into
Right.
education, man, just to give myself a shot to see if this was something that I really wanted to pursue. And, God showed me like, dude, you'll never be in a situation where you're going to be around this many kids in one setting where you can use your experiences to help young kids get through the same thing that you went through. So it was a no-brainer. God once again used football to open up a new door for me to kind of help and mold and inspire young people. And, I dove into that, became a head coach, been doing health and PE, the weight room, things like that. And now, I have admirations and aspirations to be, an administrator. So I'm kind of going down that path as well. So, like I said, it's the same thing with the dog world and, my professional career at the same time. I started somewhere, but I always had a plan on where I wanted to go. And, by trying to, live those out, every day, those goals, I'm kind of in the position that I'm in now.
Okay. So let's take it back further than education and you coaching and everything. How did you get into dogs? Did you have a family member or family members, somebody that actually uh you seen into the craft of dogs that sparked something in your mind that you wanted to go that route in a long run?
Um, yeah, I watched your show a few times. So the one thing about you, and I think the one thing that you respect about me is like We're gonna keep it real. You know what I mean? We're gonna tell the truth. We ain't gonna sugarcoat.
Right,
Um, when I got into the dog game, I was in the ugly side of it. I was
right, right,
that young kid in the neighborhood, seeing
right.
stuff
We
like that. And
right.
so, growing up, for me, it was always, I just saw dogs. I was always around dogs. Everybody in the neighborhood had dogs. I was an athlete. All the athletes had dogs. So it was just something that we knew. So as I grew up, man, as I, became a little older, started, having my mind for myself, it was like, these dogs are amazing, man. These dogs are really, really intelligent. These dogs, they have a lot of characteristics that I have as a young African American male trying to find his way in the world. A lot of people will look at you and look over you and, and stereotype you and, say that you're something based off of what you look like. So, those dogs kind of drew to me. So, my mom at the time, she knew she had to do anything and everything to kind of keep me grounded, kind of keep me molded. So she allowed me to have as many dogs as I want. So at one point
Mm,
in time, in high school, early high school, man, I had like 8 of them, all in the
wow.
backyard, just come home after football practice. And those was, kind of what I did. Everybody in the neighborhood had them. So that's kind of how it started. I was always around dogs, even when I was young. My stepfather would come home with these strays that he would find, and I'd wake up to a dog licking me in my face. So for me, it was just one of those things where it was like the cliche saying. I kind of connected with him in a way that I didn't even connect with human beings initially. You know what I mean? Because I felt like they was kind of going through the same thing that I was going through. Somebody just looking at them and immediately thinking, "This is who you are based off your appearance."
Had a stigma about them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's. Before you go further, let's make it clear when you said the ugly side. You're from North Carolina, and it's connected to Virginia.
Well, I'm from
Go ahead.
Virginia, actually. I'm originally from New York, but I was,
Okay.
adopted. So I'm in Virginia, yeah.
All right. That even clarifies it even more.
Mm-hmm.
So you were raised in Virginia.
Yeah,
Now,
oh, yeah.
now I'm gonna add North Carolina into it as well because uh it was a way of life. The dog, the game dog scene, what he means by the ugly, we don't have to go into it. Who know, if y'all know, y'all know. Um, it was a way of life here. See, we was on the outside looking in when that stuff happened with Michael Vick, and all of that stuff. Michael Vick, what I learned was just was a person with that they basically put out there because he had a high profile, and
Mm-hmm.
the law officers and all of that probably they were just tired of this situation going on, so they used him as a poster boy to stop all of this stuff. But in Virginia, it was a way of life. I'm not condoning it, but all I'm saying is it was a way of life. And this is how a lot of people in the inner cities, not just the inner city, let's not, hell no, let's not keep it in a small scope. Everywhere, almost everywhere that anybody had game dogs, white, black, Spanish, Asian, whatever you were, you had a pit bull and they were bumping. You know what I'm saying? And that was just a way of life in North Carolina and Virginia. Uh, can you talk on that a little bit?
Yeah, like I said, like growing up, we didn't know there was anything wrong with it. Like me and my cousin, shout out to Thomas Broggin. I know y'all see him at the shows with me.
Shout out to Thomas.
Um,
Shout out to Tom.
So, growing up, talking to some of my guys now that we're older and we're men and we've grown up, we think about some of the things that we allowed ourselves to be around. Man, had we been in the wrong place at the wrong time, there is no, Danny Broggin, the head football coach. There is no Danny Broggin, the aspiring administrator. There is no Danny Broggin, the ABKC judge. There's none of that. But as a child growing up, I was definitely a product of my environment. We saw it, we thought nothing of it. We thought that was just a way of life. But as I grew up and I was able to start making my decisions on my own, I understood this isn't the way of life, man. This is wild. This is crazy. Like, nah, let me use, what I have to educate, you know what I mean? Because, when a lot of people see these dogs, they see these dogs as vicious and brutal and things like that. And unfortunately, right, wrong, and indifferent is the same way in society today. Still, people will see a certain person and they'll immediately, ask them or put them in a stereotypical class or whatever. I love using it when I meet people and they ask me what I do for a living. I tell them in education. They immediately say, "You're a football coach." I'm like, "No, I'm the course teacher." You know what I mean? No, I'm the course teacher, but thank you. And you should see the eyes. And my bad, I'm sorry, but then I'm like, "Nah, I'm just playing. You're right. I'm the football coach. It's all good though." But that's just how it works. So like I said, growing
Somebody will
up,
pull
man.
your card one day and ask you to hit a note for them one day, man. Let me hear you hit a note one day.
And then they're gonna be surprised because then
Oh, you can
I'm gonna
sing
start.
too?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna start warming up. I'm gonna start warming
Oh.
up, and then they're gonna be like, "Man, I really feel stupid now." But man, not to veer off, man.
Right, right.
Like you said, in those states, man, it was a way of life, man. And if you really do your research, man, it goes way further back than even my time frame. Like you said, with Michael Vick whole situation, never condoned it, never did it myself personally. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But one of those things was that was going on everywhere. It just happened to blow up on the national scene because of who he was and what he did for a living. So yeah,
So
that's that.
the reason why I brought it up, because I'm not to celebrate it or give it any condolences. I mean, not condolences, to give it any not to say it's right. I'm not saying it was the best thing to do. Like you said, you grew up around your environment, just like me. We did things because we seen other people doing it too in the neighborhood. So, you know, it took me to get to a certain age to say, yeah, that's wrong. I gotta do different, because now we have a stigma. And by my skin tone being the skin tone that it is, it's just puts a spotlight on me. So we had to
Mhm.
change our ways and do different things. But all right. So how did you get into showing these dogs? How did you learn? You said you seen it in Philadelphia. How did you go about getting your first American bully? How did you go about doing that?
To get my first American Bully, man. My brother had married a girl named Rochelle, and her family's from Philly, Harrisburg area, and older brother her older brother, he had bullies, Broad Street bullies, man, out in I think it's Philly, in the Philly area, Broad Street bullies. So I reached out to him and I did my research, and I was like, I gotta have one. And me being in the family by marriage, he kind of dove in. Got me my first one, Kiara, man. She was a little pocket bully before I even knew what pocket bullies was. Um, and to be honest with you, when I got her, man, the rest was history. I got her. She was so loving and caring, and man, she was like the mother hen of all dogs that I've ever had. She kind of set the standard for the dogs that I ever had, man. Not a mean bone in her body, just like to, cuddle all the time and all that kind of stuff. Being a college athlete at the time, man, having a dog that just want to cuddle, and you come home from practice and you beat up, or you come home from a game and you lost, or
That's everything.
kid crying and all that kind of stuff. Because I had a kid in college, kid crying, but that dog, man, she over there and she just want to cuddle and lay with you. I was like, man, I'm in awe. This is what it is. I'll never go back to another breed. And she had that look too. She had that look that'll let you know, like, I can't give it to you, but I choose not to. And I love that
Right.
because, like I said, man, I see that in myself because I'll let you know straight up. I will if I have to, but I don't want to. I wanna be this, but don't get it twisted. Don't look at it as a sign of weakness. And that's what I love about the American Bully, man. You have that personality of the dog, and it's a very family oriented and companion breed. But you can look at these dogs, and they'll let you know right off the rip, like, don't get it twisted because it's not a sign of weakness. This is what I choose to
Facts.
be.
So basically, I have a little thing that uh uh I said, mostly bark, but there's some bite.
Hmm.
And I don't want to say all bark and no bite, because that'll be a lie. But that's amazing. So your first American bully was a pocket.
Oh yeah, yeah. She was pocket. She was off of I think it was Your Majesty, and he was off of Devil Den's Cream. Those guys up north in New York and all that kind of stuff. So I had no idea what those
Hmm.
dogs. I had no idea what any of that was. I just started doing my research. I'm like, yeah, that's a nice dog. That's a nice dog. Because growing up, the pit bull that I was dealing with was black, brindle, black and white, whatever. Now I got this
Hmm.
blue dog, what I'm calling gray, and I'm coming back to the to the neighborhood that I grew up in with this dog, and everybody's like, "Oh man, he didn't went off. He in college. You know, he playing football. He got a new dog. Look at this dude. Like, who is this guy?" So it was cool to be able to come home and open up that floodgate of education of what I've learned while educating people. I'm still learning myself. So by teaching others, I'm still learning. And then I'm enjoying the fact that I'm able to educate. So I'm learning even more, diving deeper, into what I'm doing. And then, I found out about the show ring. When I found out about the show ring, I was like, man, it's just getting better. This is too good to be true. Because my whole life being an athlete, I've always liked to compete. And when I closed that door of, playing football myself, I kind of lost a little bit of who I am because I love to compete. So, having these dogs that I love and being able to get in the show ring with the dog, oh man, this is a no brainer right here. Like this is gold. This is heaven sent. So now I can go out here and train these dogs in a manner to get in the ring and still compete and win and not have to leave you know, that show ring environment bruised up, beat up, hamstring hurting, you know what I mean? Shoulders hurting because I'm playing ball. But be able to do it with a dog, man, and, go in there and, meet new people and travel the world. Once again, I just felt like God gave me something to, show me the world a little bit. God gave me football to, travel the world with sports and college and all that kind of stuff, trying to play in the NFL. And now, he brought this American bully into my life. And now I'm all up and down the East Coast. I remember days, man, getting off work, having a truck already packed, jumping in the vehicle, driving from Virginia to Mississippi one way, get out the car, get beat up on for 2 shows, didn't even know anything about it, get back in the car and drive to Virginia. I try that now. I'm probably gonna be on the news somewhere. You talk, reading about me. I done fell asleep behind the wheel, but I was 22, 23, wide open, all the energy in the world. Um, but yeah, man, that's how it went down. Like when I first figured out now I can compete with these dogs, I can go out and run because I was in the weight room lifting and doing all that. Now I can do it with a dog and watch the transformation in the body, transformation in the gait, you know what I mean, transformation in the appearance, things like that. That was also something that just was like, this is awesome, man. I'm around them dogs. I'm around a breed that I love, and I can compete. It gets no better than that. Like I'm all for it.
So when you got into showing dogs, did you understand the point system? Did you understand that? Um, what? But matter of fact, what year was it? Did you got into
Oh
showing?
man, I think it was like I think I got into it 2012, but I took a
Okay,
whole year to just pretty much train and educate myself on what to do in the show ring, things like that. What side to have the dog on, all that good stuff, and to keep going, I figured you would ask, so I'll keep on going. So my first show was La Plata, Maryland. It was a Bullies for Lupus awareness show. And I remember, packing up the Honda Civic with the girl I was with at the time, taking like 3 dogs, everything. We were so excited, man. And when we get there, I see people on Atomic Dog magazine, Bully Badass TV, Zed Pits, things, all of that. So when I get there, man, I'm like the small fish in a big pond. So when I first get there, I see Mo Barrel and Barrel's Blue Bullies pull up with
shout out
Big
to Mo
Papa.
Barrows.
Yeah, Big Papa hanging out the window, man. And I'm like, I'm in awe. I'm kind of looking at him drive by and this big ass dog with his head like this size ride by. And I'm like, babe, like that's the people we see on YouTube. Man, then Al Rivera, they come in with, at the time, they're industry bullies, man. And they got dogs like Spaniard and, dogs like that. And then it's like, I'm setting up my tent and this white guy come over, man. He mad chippy, right? And I'm from where I'm from, so I'm just like I'm trying looking at him like hold on, big dog, like where you going? Like I don't know you. He keep walking towards us, and I'm like, man, shit, here we go. And it's John Ronica. And John Ronica, he come over, man. He like, how you doing? I'm John. I'm gonna be posted up beside you. This, that, and the third kind of started explaining himself, and I was like, boom, we clicked right then and there. I was like, John, can you do me a favor? And he's like, what's up, man? I was like, man, I got 3 dogs, man. Can you show them for me? And John gave me the best advice that I've ever gotten since I've been in the American bully community. He said, no, I will not show them for you. You're going to show them yourself and then you're gonna be hooked on showing. Because I was nervous, all those people were there, man. I was like, man, I done put in all this work, but I got to get in this ring and I got to perform, man. I'm not ready. He was like, you gonna get in that ring, and no matter how you do, you're gonna be hooked. But I will tell you this: if you don't like it, I got you, man. I got in the ring, man, and it was a wrap after that. I got in the ring, and I remember Susan Fedor. She was the first judge I got in with, and I had the dog Kiara, and she was nervous. I was nervous, and I told Susan at the time. She was like, "You're nervous, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah, this is the dog's first show." She looked at me and she was like, "It's yours too, ain't it?" Hey, bro, I'm like 230 pounds at the time, but I felt about this big, man. I
Right.
felt about that big, but she was like, just calm down because the dog can kind of sense, your energy, this, that, and the third. And, I went back, took my little first place. She got a first place because she was old at the time. She was probably like 5'6". So she was the only dog in the ring, but I had no idea. I got a blue ribbon. You give somebody like me that's a competitor a blue ribbon, it's on after that. Like you didn't turn
We
something
hunting for
on.
those for now on. We hunting for them.
So I had a young pup with me, man. Her name was Roxy. And I went in the ring, got a first place, and then Tony Gold was one of the judges. And that was the one that I trained. I trained that dog probably before she can even walk. Shout out to Anthony Gray. I used to hit him up. He would tell me, like, man, the dog too wide in the front, man, bring her in, all that kind of stuff. So I had her where I wanted her. I ended up winning the first place on the Tony Gold. And Tony Gold told me, he was like, man, this dog right here, because I told him who I was, whatever, kind of starstruck. He was like, yo, you could do something with this dog. This dog right here can kind of put you on a map. And once I heard that coming from a judge, man, it was on. I put Kiara to the side, let her be a breeding tool, and I ran up and down the East Coast with this little tri girl, and I ended up grand championing her out. First American Bully production that I ever had, and it was a female, and I ended up grand championing her out. But with that being said, she ended up getting like 11 reserves before we could get that fifth and final grand champion win. But we didn't stop because that was something that I told myself I was going to do. I was going
Right.
to grand her out because we had gotten that close. But I think the start of my whole career was that day when John walked up, man, and I was reserved at first because I was like, man, what is he coming to say? And then he showed me that in the bully community, man, it don't matter how you look, it don't matter how you dress, it don't matter where you stand, socioeconomically, anything, man. We're all in this thing together. We're all in this for the dogs. And from that day forward, I was like, man, I gotta get on their level, man, because the amount of knowledge that I took from him that day, it was crazy. And then to fast forward in my next show, I see Mo Barrow and Al Rivera and them again, and I'm just in love with the dogs that they got. So put my pride to the side, went and talked to them. They were some real cool dudes. The next thing you know, I just started picking their brain, like talking to them multiple times throughout the week. Al Rivera sent me a book. If I had to give anybody the credit in terms of being a mentor per se to me, it would definitely be Mo Barrow and Al Rivera because they kind of put me on to the kind of dog that I was into the big massive dog with the wrinkles, can still move around, and Papa and Spaniard. And that Rock and Ruby blood was definitely what they introduced me to. So that was the first blood that I kind of took off with and started looking up on YouTube and things like that. So talking to those guys and getting books and getting knowledge on handling and all that kind of stuff. And I was always a guy that liked to emulate. I would watch somebody work and I would, take something from them and put it to what I do. Growing up, love basketball. Kevin Garnett was my idol. I was 5'10", but you couldn't tell me I wasn't 6'11". On a doing a shimmy shake, and you couldn't tell me I wasn't a center. So I
Talking
would do
junk
the
to
same.
people.
Yeah, I would do the same thing with the dogs, man. I would watch Jerry Presley. I would watch Julie Kowal. I would watch Aunt Gray. I would watch Al Rivera, Mo Barrow. I would watch those guys and take something from each person and kind of put my own twist on it. Mike Ruiz, a lot of people, and just take a little bit from everybody and like put it all together to be who I was. And that's kind of where I went with it. I was, handling dogs. There's a lot of people out there right now, some of your big time handlers. I saved the message. They asked me to handle their dogs when it was first coming out. Just because I was I was, pretty hot at the time, so but it was a part of the grand scheme of things. I wanted to make sure that I showed everybody that I was a bully enthusiast. I was a guy that really cared about the dog, the breed, and the camaraderie within the community and things like that. Before I even try to start a breeding program, because I feel like sometimes people would jump in and try to take X amount of money and buy this dog, and then buy this dog and do a breeding, without really, solidifying yourself and letting the community know who you are. Now you're just a person with two nice dogs that's got a little bit of money. Nobody's gonna want to, do business with you like that. You know what I mean? They know you're in it for the wrong reasons. So I had like a plan. I established myself as a handler, ripping and running up and down the East Coast, showing everybody's dogs free of charge. At this point in time in my career, I was taking people's dogs in, housing them, making sure they was ready to go, hitting the road, getting their ribbons, bringing them home, meeting them with their dog, on to the next weekend. It was very demanding. It was rewarding, but at the end of the day, man, it's got me where I'm at now. So I have nothing bad to say about it.
I let you know this right now, y'all listening and watching. That's never been in a show ring. It is a workout. That next day, you gonna feel it. You trust and
Mhm.
believe. You if it's your first time going in that show ring and you show multiple dogs, even one dog, 4 shows, three. Well, back then it wasn't 4 shows. It was probably like 2 shows, uh, 2 or 3 shows. I'm not sure. They started 4 shows, I think, in like 2015 around that time.
Mhm.
They started 4 shows, but before that, it was only three. And I'm pretty sure before that, it was only two. And they were far and in between. They weren't in every state every week. That's why um, I feel like we'll get into that later. We'll get into that later. But so your breeding program, how did you um get into figuring out what to put with what to match with it? How long did it take you to get the concept of the science of breeding?
Uh, so once again, just piggybacking off of what I said earlier, just diving into talking to people like Mo Barrow and Al Rivera. Those are two guys that I would talk to on a daily basis. I know for a
Mhm.
fact they got tired of hearing my voice, man. Like I would call them, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So I made it very clear that I would never try to create a bloodline. I have no interest in doing that. My thing was, if I find something that's not broken, I'm not going to try to fix it. I knew what I liked. I knew what kind of dog I liked. I knew what my vision was. I was really, really hooked on the um hooked on the Rock and Ruby strand. Give me 1 second.
Mm,
I
mhm.
was really hooked on the Rock and Ruby strand. Liked it. I'm gonna step outside real quick, bro,
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
No, no, do your thing.
Give me a second. Oh man, step outside. Gotta be, gotta be um respectful to the household
I understand. Definitely
before I go
understand.
to sleep. Got a nurse for a
Uh,
significant other, and she sent me a text message. So I'm almost positive that text message was letting me know that she could still hear my voice. So that being said, I'm gonna just
bro,
step outside.
I work in the hospital, so I understand,
Yeah.
and I understand how nurses can get when they get
Oh
chippy.
yeah.
So, I trust me, man. I stay out of their way. I try to stay out of their
Oh,
way. So I
we
I
locked.
understand what you're saying.
We locked in now. Let me
Yeah,
turn the light on real quick. Can you see me?
yeah, yeah, yeah. You good? You
Oh,
don't
we
have to
good
turn the
now.
back one off. Yeah, you can turn the back one off. Oh, it's
Hold
on
on.
off.
Yeah, that's crazy. That rental car, man. Boy, in a rental. All right, here we
Yeah,
go. Yeah, we
yeah,
we
yeah,
good
yeah,
now,
yeah,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah. You
Oh, we
good?
good. My bad. My bad.
Definitely. Nah, you
So
good.
so like I said, for me it was the studying and looking at like Bully Badass TV. I really, really, really looked up to Marco Suarez, Rob Lee and them over with the Bully Market. Like I said, in the street bullies, barrels, blue bullies, things like that. So for me, it was never trying to recreate a bloodline. I just wanted to build off of the things that I like. For me, it was I want a little bit of this dog, I want a little bit of that dog. I want a little bit of this dog. I want to kind of tie it all together. So for me, just doing the research and talking to Al Rivera and Mo Barrow, I knew what the the Rock and Ruby strand brought to the table. You know, it was gonna give me that look that I always fell in love with. Um, and I got a dog off Al named Baxter, massive animal, man, about 90 pounds in his prime, big head. The Spaniard had Rocky has a hard head in there. It was top and bottom Rock and Ruby, you know what I'm saying? So knowing that blood and just researching that blood and watching him grow up as a pup to a grown man, you know, he was really, really masterful in the front, but he kind of tapered off in the back. You know what I mean? Butt was up a little bit high in the rear, but you know, he had, you know, his passions wasn't as strong. I knew that was the look that I wanted to start with. Like you know, Al told me, he was like, you know, bully it up, man. Bully it up, and you will clean it up later on. You know, but you know, you got to find the right tools to clean it up. But you know, it's hard to bully it up afterwards. You know what I mean? Doing it this way. So the Rock and Ruby strand was kind of what I started with. But watching the videos, I would look at Marco Suarez and I would look at his dogs, and that Paco strand for me was, dang, that's what I need. You know what I mean? That's gonna give me a little bit more structure. That's gonna shorten it back up, bring the dog down to size. So I started looking for that, man, started trying to tap into that Paco blood. But then, you know, over the years watching Rob Lee do his thing in the ring with his stock, man, the way it moved. You know, for me, I was trying to create the complete animal. So now I'm thinking like I'm looking for some rear assembly, you know what I mean? I'm looking for some of that gait, I'm looking for some of that ring presence, stuff like that. So it was like I got 3 dogs, I got 3 bloodlines, 3 kennels that I really, really enjoy. It's my job now to try to put it all together. So what I did was I started looking at dogs that had already had that mixture and seeing like how can I get that animal? Like for me, Master Shifu was a dog that I really, really enjoyed looking at. Big Papa, Spaniard, obviously Bistro, and then, you know, everything off of him coming down the line, you know, the bus, dogs like that. So for me, it was just always researching, always looking for dogs, always trying to, you know, trying to create the complete animal that had the look of the Rock and Ruby, short back of the Paco stuff, but the movement of Bistro. And it took a while, but I finally felt like I got that animal. And he's right here in our backyard in the
Mm.
kennel setup right now. So it took a while, but it did a lot. It took a lot of research, asking around, you know, looking at dogs, studying peds. I feel like I can put a ped together in my sleep now from all the years of just looking at pedigrees and studying them and saying, you know, this dog brings this to the table, this dog brings that to the table, this bloodline brings this to the table, uh, things like that. So for me, it was just for real, man, rolling up my sleeves and putting in the work and actually doing the breedings.
Hey man, that's amazing. So you weren't into bloodlines. You wanted to just piece the dogs together that you like to put in the show ring and to compete. Is from what I'm
Hmm.
hearing. You wasn't
Yes.
interested in the actual science of dog breeding when it comes to creating your own line, but you were into the science of breeding to create monsters, gorillas, a complete dog that can actually move around the ring. And if you ask me, that's sort of like creating your own bloodline when you piecing dogs together, because what you think um what you might think you like, uh Al Rivera might not like it as much as you. What you think you might like you might like Mo Barrows might not as like as much as you have. So
Hmm.
you found your own way, you know,
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
and that definitely is a big accomplishment in this dog world, because there is a lot of people who call themselves breeders that don't have a way. You know,
Hmm.
they're just breeding off of other studs from what they see, and they're not actually putting it together. They're just trying to copy and paste right now. How do you feel about the breeding game now, as far as um people just copy and pasting what they see and not trying to add this and that to complete the perfect dog for themselves?
Now I'll say this: I'll never take credit or say I'm an OG or I've been here longer than this person or that person.
Right.
But I do think I've been around long enough to understand kind of how it goes. You know what I mean? You're gonna get certain fads, you're gonna get certain waves, you're gonna get certain eras that you're gonna go through, and the people that kind of ride those waves and stick it out and are there through it all. Those are the people that I kind of look towards as like people that's really in it. Because
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I'll just go back. When I came out, the extreme class was, it was
Ew.
far, yeah, it was over there. And, we started you hearing the term train wreck. So that
Facts.
term, I came out during the train wreck era, and then we left the train wreck era and we went to the reindeer era. You know what I'm saying? Because they tried to clean it up, and then the dogs were too classic looking, so they started talking reindeer. And I feel like we're kind of moving back towards where I kind of started. You know what I mean? The dogs are a little bit on the smaller side, so guys are trying to bring out the exaggerated features, but not really understanding how to bring out the exaggerated features the right way, doubling up on this and doubling up on that and tripling up on this, which is great for some people when they talk in certain bloods. But I think, the people that really understand the science behind it, some of those bloods have certain flaws that come with it. And when you're breeding and you're doing three times this because it's a big name, you're also doing three times that flaw. So when you're doing three times that flaw, you definitely gonna get that flaw, and it's gonna be bad. And what I'm starting to see now is there's not enough mentors, there's not enough people giving knowledge, just because a they don't want to give the knowledge for whatever reason. I think it's because you have one person that'll ask 13 different people for advice. And if you're getting advice from 13 different people, man, you will probably get at least 7 or 8 different things. They're not going to agree.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, man, I think I'm starting to see a lot of people that are being mentored by people that need mentors themselves. Um, I'm starting to see people that give advice that I can honestly see their programs and see how they do things, and they still need advice.
Mm.
So, it's the whole cliche saying the blind leading the blind. I think what we're doing now in the community is you can buy your way into the game. You can, like I said, you can buy a female, or you can buy a female and a male and breed it because you see this is what's going on in the community, but not really knowing what you're getting yourself into. So when you have that litter and you dealing with cleft, or you dealing with really high rears, or you dealing with dwarfism and things like that, now you frustrated, and now you got a litter that you can't move because first of all, you don't really understand the science behind breeding and selling dogs. You're not marketable, for one. For two, you're not knowledgeable in what you're selling. So when people ask you these questions, you really can't give them the answers that they're looking for. And three, you don't have a backup plan. So when those pups don't move, you're really stuck, and now you're frustrated. And that's why you see people last for a year or two, and then they cash out. So I feel like that's where we are now, because a lot of people are chasing the fad. A lot of people are chasing the hype dogs, but not really knowing what's behind the hype dogs. A lot of these dogs, no dog's perfect. So when you're breeding to these dogs, the perfect dog you might think of, it's gonna have something in there that if you don't do your research, you're gonna run into. And then if you're doubling and tripling up on that blood, when you get those flaws, you don't know what to do. You're not equipped to handle those flaws, or you don't have that cleanup tool to go back and take it to that dog to clean it up, to try to create that specimen, try to create that complete animal. I think we're losing that vision as well, of trying to create the complete animal instead of just the animal that looks great from the front, or the animal that looks great that can take pictures. You know what I mean? I want to see the videos. I want to see him move. I want to see him breathe after running and chasing his ball for a little bit. I want to see stuff like that. I don't know what just happened with this light, but
It's all
um,
good. It's all good.
yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with it, man. I just sit back and I observe. I give knowledge when knowledge is asked for. I give encouragement when encouragement is asked for. If I see somebody that I can help immediately right away, I'll do it. But for the most part, for me, I kind of see how the game's going right now. I kind of stay in my own lane, man, and watch it unfold. I can say, by the grace of God, I've never been in a bully beef. I've never gotten into anything like that. And it's probably because my mindset when I got into the game was I'll never ever join a group. I'll never do that. Like, I'll love everybody and, be respectful to everybody and kick it with everybody. But as for joining a group, I'm not doing that, because the one person that I know for a fact that I can trust with my finances, my business, my kennel, all of that stuff, is the guy that you doing your interview with.
Mm.
So I know that guy's not going to let me down in any way, shape, or form. So before I put myself in that position to get out there and, put my name or my stamp on somebody else and allow it to go left or something like that, I'm just not going to do it. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it served me well for however many years I've been doing it.
I can tell you the first time I met you, it was in Allentown.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were gonna fight at first, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought we were gonna get into it because you was kind of rude to me at first when I first met you. But I had to understand you were upset for some. You was upset because
I probably
some.
lost.
I think that's what it was.
I
I think
probably
no,
lost.
no, no, no. You got second place, and you was pissed off because I think you might have been trying to title a dog or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And and you got second and you was heated. I think you got second. You wasn't pissed, but you wasn't happy at all, and you wasn't trying to answer any questions. You wasn't try. And I was dude. I had this tri female named Siren,
Mm-hmm.
Siren the Temptress, and I hit the ground running with her. Like I hit the ground just like you said. You when you got into the game, you hit the ground running with your female. So I hit the ground running as well with Siren. And I asked her, I said, yo, I seen you in there stacking your dog like this. And before I can even get it out, you gave me this crazy look. Like, like, who the fuck are you? You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Who the fuck
wow.
is this guy?
My bad. I did not
Nah,
know
nah,
that. I
nah.
apologize
Nah, nah,
now.
nah. Nah, nah. It's all good because I respected it because you did answer my question,
Mm-hmm.
but it was not. I didn't receive you as a mentor. I said, I ain't asking that dude shit again, man. You know what I'm saying? I was like 250 pounds at that point at that time. I was a big dude. You was a big dude. And I was like, man, we'd move some furniture up in this month. You know what I'm saying? If we got it to we gonna move some furniture up in here, man. So I'm not gonna say nothing else to him. But later on that day, you walked up to me and you started breaking down certain things about my dog, and you were
Mm-hmm.
positive. You was like, I like that bitch, man. And I was like, at first, I was like, hold up. Who okay, now this is a different person right here.
Yeah. I
Like
probably won. I probably messed around and won the next show or something. You know what I
so
mean?
I was like,
Uh-huh.
who's this guy? You know what I'm saying? But I appreciated it. I appreciated it. And I started to understand it because I am just as competitive as you are. So I understood it not then, but I understood it like months from then, because somebody hit me up, came up to me, it was like, yo, like a young dude. And I kind of, gave them the same treatment, but it was after a L. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of understood, or I didn't place where I wanted to place. I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
gonna say a L because I placed, but I didn't
It's
place
an
where I
L.
wanted to place.
It's an L.
He
It's an
says
L.
a L.
It's an
See?
L. Because I'll be honest with you, man. I remember a show, man, and it was Mandy Smoot, Blue Blood Dynasty. It was Mandy Smoot. I can't remember the other guy's name. His name was Eric something, Nikki Westbrook. They were all together. And I was hot
Eric
at the
Eric
time, man. I'm
Borges.
winning.
Eric Borges. Was it
Nah,
Eric?
nah, it was the dude with Bison. His
Oh,
name was
oh,
Bison.
oh, okay, all right.
White guy. I can't remember his name. I had to do the breed when it's crazy. I can't remember his name, but Mike Ruiz was down there. Trop Boy Kennels and they were down there, and I was hot, man. I was winning. But what I would never do is I would get a first place, man. I wouldn't even smile. If I get the
Mm,
first place, I would say thank you, and I would kind of grab my dog. We go back, and I would, I was like. I would put her in the kennel. I would give her a treat. I would give her some water. I would rub her, and I would sit down. I would just start observing. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, man, you just won first place. You just got best this, best that. Why ain't you smiling? Ain't you excited? And I'm thinking to myself, this is what I expect. Probably while y'all sleeping, I'm stacking. While
That's
y'all
what's up.
sleeping, I'm bait training. Like, this is what I expect. When I come up here and I don't win, I am upset because at this point in time, my competitive juice is flowing out of every pore that I have in my body. I would much rather not lose than win. So when you came and approached me and I got a second place, I probably was out of body. I would never get disrespectful or be unprofessional
Nah, you
because
wasn't
I know I
disrespectful.
have a life outside of dogs.
Yeah, you
But
wasn't disrespectful.
also,
You would just. I could tell you was
yeah,
not. You was not
it
in
was
the
a one
mood.
man militia too. You have
Yeah.
to understand that too. I was a one man army at the time. I would take 3 or 4 dogs, man, and I would drive up to Maryland, Allentown, and literally I wouldn't get a hotel room. I would let the seats back. I would crawl back in the hatch and go to sleep. Ask Joel. Ask Rolling Stone Bullies. He knows because when I first met him, he was like, man, you doing what? I was like, yeah, man. I just pulled up to. He was like, yo, have you got down here yet? I was like, yeah, I'm at the venue now. He's like, bro, it's like 3 in the morning. What you doing? I'm like, bro, I'm about to catch some sleep before the show. He's like, man, here's my address, bro. Come to my house. What you got going on? I'm like, nah, man, I'm already here now. But he can vouch for me, man. Like when I was ripping and running and chasing these titles and trying to make a name for myself, it was all I knew. I literally, I think at that point in time, I don't do it anymore because I got kids and my priorities have changed. But I think I was living for the show ring, yo. I would go to a show in January and then mark my calendar off for the next show in April. And I wouldn't even live in between those months. Like I was living for that next show. I would miss out on so much of life waiting for that next show because I was so hooked to, everything that came with it, the camaraderie within the community, winning, just the experiences, the people that I met, man. The first time I got my first place from Ron Ramos, dude,
Ooh,
shit, man, I felt like I won a state championship in high school
bro,
again.
I remember when I got my first. Listen, my first time with Ramos was with Siren in Allentown,
Mm.
and I remember I made it to best standard with with Ron Ramos, and man, it was an exciting time, man. I'll never forget. I'll never forget that moment. You're right. A win
Yeah,
under certain judges that you look up to is amazing.
he gave me the confidence to know that I could bang in the ABKC with anybody as a handler. Because
Mm,
I remember the female that I had, she wasn't a top tier female. She was scatterbred. I knew nothing about breeding at the time. I took my homeboy's dog and a girl that I got from Philly. We ran them together, and I just started training her. I fed her really well, had her on the supplements, had her on the treadmill, all that kind of stuff. So she looked amazing. But in terms of genetics taking over, I knew nothing about that at the time. So I
mhm.
remember Brian Peterson came down to a show with
Shout
with
out to
his
Judge
girls.
Brian Peterson.
Yeah, he came down to a show, and it's me and him for best standard.
Hmm.
And his dog was night and day better than my dog.
Hmm.
But I mean, the only reason why I was in that ring with him, because I was running circles around him. I was handling my behind. I'm sweating, man. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna beat him off of handling. I'm gonna beat him off
Right.
handling. And Ron came up to us. He was like, I'm gonna give it to the better dog. But he told me in front of Brian that day, he was like, if you really want to get the most out of that female that you have, give it to this guy right here. And he told Brian to give me his dog and let me continue to handle her. Just off of, the ability that I shown in the ring that day. And right then and there, I was like, yo, I got it. I'm where I need to be now. Like, I got a little bit of Jerry in there. I got a little bit of Ann in there. I got a little bit of Mo and Al in there. I got a little bit of Julie in there. And I didn't mix it all together. And now we're starting to show. So I'm ready now. I'm ready. Wait till I get my hands on a nice dog. You know what I'm saying? When I get my hands on a nice dog, y'all in trouble. And then next thing you know, I ran into this guy at an RKC show, just went to kind of, build a rapport. And I ran into this guy, and he was dealing with the Paco blood. And his name was Sean Wesley, I think. And I'm talking to him, and he was like, "Yo, I got this female that I'm looking to, part ways with, whatever have you." And I'm like, "Tell me a little bit about her. I like your dogs, whatever." He was like, "Her name's Khaleesi, man, and she's off of Greg Broadway's yard." And I knew Greg. I knew him from the North Carolina show. Shout out to Greg Broadways and Broadway Bullies. Um, his dog kind of really took off. I took off with his dog, a production of his. Her name was Khaleesi. She was some old school Rockin' Ruby from California, Squirt, Spirit, those dogs bred to Clydesdale. He had a girl and he bred her to the dog Clydesdale, the one of the legends, you know. So when I saw this dog, I had to have her, you know,
Mm,
had to have her. She had it all. She was pocket, she was rocked up, but she had a show presence, man, that was like none other.
mm,
So when I got this dog, and I was like, oh, I got a nice dog. I
mm,
got a nice dog. Here I come. I got her ears cropped at 9 months, bro. I had her champed out. I got her. I think I ended up getting her at 9 months. She was champed out by 10 months. And I want to say this dog was a grand before she was even a year old.
mm.
But
And
she
that
was
was, and what
tough.
year was this?
This was I want to say it was 2013.
And there
Whatever
wasn't
year it
that
was,
many
we finished.
female grands. Wasn't that many
Yeah,
female grands
we
at
we
that
we
moment?
were the #1 female in the registry that year.
Mm,
We had beat up on dogs that year. We had beat up on. Shout out to my homeboy Ariel, Tito Trinidad. He caught a slug that year from her, multiple slugs. Um, the dog Mufasa, Big Mufasa. He
yes,
caught a slug from us that year. I want to say the only big name dog that I did not get to take down that
with the
year
bus.
was the bus. Was the
Hmm.
bus. We ran into him and we lost to him. Um, I want to say, man, she was Sweet and Low before Sweet and Low was Sweet and Low. Because when Sweet and Low came out, I was like, man, I'm already doing this. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying? I've already
it
won
sounds like it. It sounds
50
like you
shows
had
with
a
this
sweet and low
dog.
before, sweet and low.
Um, but then Sweet and Low came in and Donald come in with his, his charisma, his smile, and he charming and all that. And I'm like, damn, I think I wave going down, sweetheart. So
He
yeah,
was a
she was
business.
ripping and running.
He was a businessman in the ring, but
Yeah,
he
he
was,
knew what he was doing.
yeah,
He knew how to
yeah.
sell. He knew how to sell his product and his brand like none other, man.
He
And
was
he
like a
did it with
car
a smile.
salesman.
He did
He
it
was
with
like a
grace. He did it with his charm. He did it with,
facts.
doing it the right way. So I had nothing but the utmost respect for him. You know what I'm saying? But once
That
I
was the
got my
first
hand on the
female that
nice,
won nationals. That was the first female that won nationals.
and I was
If
like,
I'm
and I told myself, if my girl wasn't Brindle, if she wasn't Brindle,
right,
she would have beat her. She was.
right.
She just didn't. She didn't jump off the radar because she had that old school edge look in her face. But when you
Hmm.
talk about, you probably could see every individual muscle in that animal. And like I never had. I remember Earl gave me a best. I think Earl gave me a best of winners one day in Atlanta, and I think it was me and a lady named Heidi, and she had Grand Champion Raft or something like that, and we're going around the ring, and she had a boy, I think he was Whiskey or something like that, and he was rocked up. He was a nice looking animal, but I knew for sure that girl that I had better structure at the time, and I was like, man, I think I'm studying all the judges, and I'm like, this dude Errol, he at this point in time, he like structure, he like dogs that can hold it down in terms of not falling apart. And that girl was clean as a whistle. So Aaron sent us down and back. He sent us around the ring, and then he said, "Once y'all done, I want you to free stack them." When he said, "I want you to free stack them," I start smiling from ear to ear. I just start smiling because I said, "All right, girl, go do your thing." You know what I'm saying? Go do your thing. I came around. I put the lead down. I looked at her, and she looked up at me, and that top line went down like this. And he handed me that ribbon, and I just started smiling. And I said, "I'm here now.
Oh,
I'm
was
here,
it the first time
ABKC."
you smiled? Was it the first time you
It was the,
smiled in the ring?
it was the first time I smiled because my champion female had won the champion class, and
Right.
my class female, they were in the ring together. I never
Wow.
had that happen to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm up for best in show. Um, I'm up for best of winners or whatever with two of my dogs, and they're two females. So I'm like ABKC. I didn't. I'm in here. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? At
The
this point
door's
in time,
open.
I'm in here now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now I'm gonna be a force to be reckoned with for a little bit. So at that point in time, that's when it just all took off. It just took off after that, and it's just
I
been a
think
blessing, man. It's been a hell of a ride.
I think you caught a slug from me a couple of times though.
But I think it was. I think for real, when I caught them slugs for you, I was washed. I was old. You know what I'm saying? I was on a decline. I knew right then and there it's time for me to get out. You got you got to know when to get out. These new cats coming in the game, man. They coming with some heat. They coming with some pressure. So now it's time for you to kind of turn your resume in and try to become a judge and get out the ring.
I'm
I know when it's time.
listen,
It was
I'm
time.
gonna let you know when I did get you in the ring, I it was one of my proudest moments because you were one of the people that like how you said you looked at Mo Barrows, you looked at Al Rivera. I looked at you the same way. But
Mhm.
the reason why I never approached you is because you was a mercenary. You know, you I just didn't know if it would go left or it would go right with you. So I kind of watched from a distance because that was the I felt like that was the best way to learn from you because you were so business minded when you got it.
Mhm.
You were so focused that I c- man, I watched people talk to you and it was like they weren't even there. And so I was like, I'm talking about people that knew you. So I'm
Mhm.
like, who am I to go to this dude is and like I already tried to talk to them before, and and he didn't he gave me the knowledge, but he was already so I just was like, I'm gonna watch from the far. I'm a person that if I don't get it one way, I'm gonna get it another way. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? If you're not gonna tell me,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
get it.
watch. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna get it.
watch
I'm
you.
gonna get it one way or another. Yeah.
Yep, and I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. And um I already had other people like like Tone. He was showing me like Kino, like Mo Barrows, Al Rivera, like you said, the same mentors. Ron Ramos was one of my mentors because he see me taking it serious. And
Mhm.
so he he um he actually gave me game. And that's why and then you started voluntarily giving me game. I'm talking about pulling me to the side and
Yeah.
giving me game. And I was like, oh shit. And that was my I'm here moment.
Yeah.
I'm here moment because I had to learn that a lot of I'm not saying OGs, but experienced dog handlers, they didn't mess with just anybody.
Nope.
They had to
Nope.
see that you was willing to put that work in. And now that I understand your ethic, your work ethic,
Mhm.
and the dogs that used to come in were phenomenal as far as like conditioning,
Mhm.
muscle, they was off the charts. And so I modeled my game after yours in a way. If you could, if you understand what I'm saying, like I seen how conditioned your dogs were,
Mhm.
and I would have shots fired and siren attempters on spring pole, right?
Yeah.
We would have a session part of the day, spring pole. Then we'd hit 2 walks, half a mile walks each, till we hit a mile.
Mhm.
Then that was once in the morning, once in at night. We'd do the flirt poles, right? Before we go to bed, before they go to bed, we'll do the flirt poles. And then there was these times I would take them to this park called Unicondicate, where the NFL players, like the New England Patriots, some of the Patriot players used to go run this hill, and it was a
Mhm.
crazy hill. So I used to have my dogs running that hill, and I just want to thank you because not everybody needs to tell you game. Not everybody
Yeah.
needs to let you know out of their mouth what it is. You have to have the wherewithal sometimes just to watch and to be
Mhm.
one of those people that is obsessed with winning and so obsessed with winning that when you see a winner that you're not going to let him know, "Oh, I'm watching you." You just going to pay attention and you just going to show him, "Look,
Yeah.
I mean business." And but so when you gave me love like that, it meant the world to me. And then that's when we started to
Mhm.
talk every time. And you see me at a show, and we, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I'm here. I'm
You
here,
here.
because
So
you were the one of the people that I wanted uh, to chum up with.
yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real because I didn't see too many people you chummed up with. But
Mhm.
when you took to me, you was like, yeah, yeah. You started giving me, and I felt blessed, man. And I just wanted to thank you for that because it was an honor. It was an honor to learn from you, and and um I'm continuing to learn from you.
Yeah.
So
So for
thank you.
me, it was one of those things, big dog. It was like at the shows, I'm a firm believer I would not be anywhere that I am today without somebody caring enough about me to give me game, to give me knowledge, not just in the dogs, but in my professional career, in my emotional career, things like that. So I wouldn't be doing Al and John Ronica, Tony Gold, Mo Barrow, Susan. I wouldn't be doing any of those people any justice had I not taken what they had given me. And after I applied it and made sure it worked, give it to somebody else. I'll use this example. Mandy Smoot and Brian Smoot. I love them to death. I call their kids my nephew. I mean my nieces. Because we just been that close. They had an XL at one point in time in their showing career, and I remember, man, she's running around and she's got the dog kind. She got the lead out, kind of holding it like that as she's
Hmm.
gaiting, kind
Hmm.
of holding the dog's head up, and I pulled her to the side and I was like, listen. I hope this gonna bite me in my ass today, but put that lead down. Go loose lead with that big joker and let him open up and let the world see him move like he know he can move. Man, later on in the day, it's me and her in that mug for best of winners or something like that. She put the lead down and that big joker started prancing around like a damn Clydesdale and she beat me and she looked at me and her face red as a dang on stop sign and I put my head down. I give her a hug and I'm like, damn, I knew this was gonna happen. But that was the kind of person that I was, man. And even as a judge, like sometimes my shows will kind of go over, but I would see somebody in there with the lead on wrong, or I see somebody in there that's doing something a little wrong, and I'm like, listen, man, you have a nice animal, don't you mess it up for that animal. You know what I mean? Because when I came out, I didn't have nice animals at the time. When I first came out, I had dogs that I had just put together. I knew nothing about breeding, scatter
Hmm.
breedings left and right,
Hmm.
but I was a really, really good handler. So when I see it vice versa, I see a person with a really, really nice dog. I make sure that they understand this dog can go as high as this dog can go if you put in the work as a handler. So these are the things that I feel like you kind of can work on and kind of improve on and that'll take you and your dog to the next level. So when I'm walking around shows and stuff, man, I'll grab a dog and I'll ask the person to, gate it for me, and I'll watch him gate, and I'll be like, man, try this. And it's probably not gonna work today because it's the day of the show. But this is definitely something that you can take home and start working on. And boom, Big Dog Jerome, he had a dog in Carolina one time, and I want to say it was a female, and I saw him stack her up, and I was like, dog, that dog can be brought so much more to the table if you do this. And at
Hmm.
that point in time, he knew he had no idea who I was. So he
Hmm.
gave me the eye. He gave me the eye. Who is this guy, man? And I
Hmm.
was like, I'm the kind of person where I'm going to give you the knowledge. What you do with the knowledge is totally
It's
up to
up to
you.
you.
But you can
Facts.
never go around and say nobody cared about me enough to give it to me.
Facts.
And then he took it and ran with it, and now me and him like this. We done readings
Hmm.
together, you know what I mean? Things like that. So that's just the kind of person that I am. The education part, I'm gonna give it to you, man. What you do with it is up to you. And that's just not with dogs. I done met people, and you can vouch for this, man. We'll have conversations about life and you'll bring something to me or I'll bring something to you and I'll tell you how I feel about it. And then I'll let you know straight up. This is just for you to hear. You can do what you want to do with it, but you're never gonna go to sleep and say somebody didn't care about me enough to give me game. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna give it to you. Because who would I be if I didn't? You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be living the life that I know I should be living if I don't give you the game that you need to get. What you do with it, big dog, is up to you. So that's kind of how I approach the bully game, whether it's handling, whether it's etiquette in the ring, whether it's kind of how you carry yourself in the real world that kind of hurts you in the bully world. Anything, man, anything that I can give to somebody to help them be more successful, I'm gonna give it to them. And that's just how I run with it. It's hurt me in some situations, but at the same time, you got to be as an individual and as a person, you got to understand that not everybody asks you for kindness. Not everybody asks you for realness. They didn't ask you that. You decided to give them that. So what you get from it is what you get from it because they didn't ask you for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you can't expect to get a certain thing when they didn't ask you for it in the first place. Just
That's
give
a
it,
fact.
and whether they receive it or not, you still gave it to them. Now you can go to bed at night knowing that you did your job.
That's a fact. Okay. So how do you feel? Well, first, I don't think I ever showed against you with shots fired. Um when when I had shots fired, I think you were starting to um do your
Yeah, I was definitely on my way out of the ring showing.
right,
Yeah.
right. You was on your way out when I had Siren, that tri female.
Uh-huh.
You was transitioning out, and I don't think I understood at that moment. It took me a while to understand that getting knowledge from people like y'all was so instrumental to me for when I got shots fired.
Mm-hmm.
When I got that dog, then I started to understand how to handle, what to do here, how to I don't know if you remember, that same advice you gave, what did you say her name was? I apologize.
Mandy. Mandy.
Mandy, you
Mm-hmm.
gave me the same advice. You said, "Yo, you're don't hold the lead," because I was holding it like this, like in my arm like this.
Mm-hmm.
You said, "Relax your shoulder,
Oh yeah.
relax your arm," and because that dog feels, I swear I remember it's like yesterday because I give the same knowledge to other people I see. Because you said that that dog can feel the tension from my arm when I'm holding it like this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's causing the dog not to move, and it's restricting the dog from moving how it wants to move.
Assisted gait versus unassisted gait, bro, is to me, it's a thing of beauty, man. When you got a dog that's kind of pulling against the handler versus a dog that's just going, um, it's two totally different images to me. And I think for me, it's one of those things where it can make a break. For me as a judge, it can make a break. If I see you running around and you're dragging a dog or you're doing it for the dog versus a dog that's doing it themselves, I'm probably gonna give the nod to the dog that's doing it themselves,
Mhm.
if and only if everything else is in accordance with what I'm looking for in the ring that day. So,
How do you
um,
how do you feel about handlers snapping the lead to make that dog's head go up? You know how they lock the lead in, and some dogs you have to snap that lead a little bit for it
mhm.
to hit that full gate. How do you feel about that? Because
Yeah,
that's a trick that I learned from Mr.
yeah,
Ramos.
I don't mind it at all because handling. What's the objective of handling? Handling is your job. Somebody is paying you to do a job to bring out the best in that dog right then and there.
Mm,
Now, if I had that dog at home and it was my animal, I should be able to train that dog well enough where I don't have to do that. I can do that at
mm,
home, and then when I put that lead under that dog's neck, that dog should automatically know what's coming next. So I shouldn't have
mm,
to pop it. But if you give me your dog at the show and I've never had your dog, it's my job to present that dog in the best light that I possibly can on that day. And if that's what it takes to get the best out of that dog, that's what it takes.
facts.
But as a handler first and a judge second, I know what you're doing. I
Right.
know exactly what you're doing.
Right.
You're not pulling something new to me. You know what I mean? I know all the tricks of the trade. So for me, I honestly look at it as something like this person know what they're doing. Maybe that dog's gonna gate with his head down without this trick. So good for you for bringing the most out of that dog with that trick right there.
Right, but you're gonna definitely pull that person to the side and say, "Yo, if you work with that dog, and you ain't gonna have to pop that lead at a certain moment. Just work a little bit more with that dog."
Now I wouldn't tell the handler that because I know who handlers are. I wouldn't
Hmm.
tell the handler that because 9 out of 10 times that handler's gonna get that ribbon or not get the ribbon, and what is that handler gonna do with that dog? Either go put it in a crate or take it back to his owner. They're not gonna have the dog for X amount of time. It's up to that owner.
No, I'm saying a owner handler, like a person
Oh,
who
owner handler,
actually
yeah. If an
owns
owner
that
handler,
dog.
yeah. If an owner handler's in the ring, I'm definitely gonna tell them what I think. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's your job to bring the best out of that dog. If you have a dog that's just not gonna do it, it's up to you to go in there and do what's best for you and the dog. I'm gonna give my 2 cents, but at the end of the day, you know your dog better than I know your dog. So,
Mhm. What made
um,
you want to become a judge?
like I said, man, early on in the interview, I always had a plan when I first got into this thing. It's just like with my life. When I got into coaching football, I started off as an assistant, and then I knew I wanted to become a head coach. And then when I became a head coach, I said, my objective is to change the mindset and the culture of a football program, right? So as soon as I felt like I was done with that, or I felt like I've accomplished that, I want to go into an athletic director role where I could change the mindset and the culture of a whole athletic
Mm,
program, not just football. And then after the athletic director role, I want to do it as a school. I don't want
mm,
to just change the mindset of the school athletically. I want to change the mindset of a school academically,
mm,
culture wise, overall
mm.
community outreach, things like that. So it was always stepping stones. So it was the same thing in the bully world. I wanted to start off as a bully enthusiast first, somebody that's ripping and running and showing dogs and showing the world that I care about the breed. And then I wanted to start breeding, because once you start breeding and they know that you have good stock and you care about it, it won't be hard to, move your pups and things like that. And then while doing that, I wanted to take all the knowledge and everything that I've learned and then become an advocate for the breed, be somebody that can educate people, along the way. And what's the best way to do that than being in the position of a judge? So
Wha- Man,
that
that's
was just the
amazing.
stepping stones for me.
That's a hey man, that's amazing. Hey, I don't want to hold you, man. I know you got a family, man. You got a lot going on, man. Like you said, your wife already send you that warning text,
Oh
that
yeah, that's why
hey,
I'm in the car. I'm about to drive off.
hey, I want to thank you so much, man, for jumping on here and spending some time on here, man, and dropping some knowledge. If there's anything that you can tell uh new breeders, even experienced breeders, what would it be? What would it be? What would you let these breeders today know?
Hey man, first of all, before I get off of here, I wanted to definitely tell you, man, I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank
You
you.
got to get your flowers too. We've had our conversations on what I think, you know what I mean, on some of the, I always felt like your message was your message. I always told you though, sometimes the delivery, you know what I mean, whether you wanted to agree with me or not,
Hmm.
I told you what I thought. But I definitely want you to understand and know that, man, you're a vessel in the community. You know what I mean? You got knowledge, you got things to give to the community. Don't stop doing it, no matter what's going on in your life. You have a right to do what you're doing, man. And I think it's good for the community. You keep on doing, you keep on pushing. And before I get off of here, I definitely want to give some flowers to some other people. As I've stated in this interview, man, Mo Barrel, Al Rivera, Ron Ramos, Ariel, Marlon, Marlon Harris, Joel Wynn for sure, my
Mm,
guy.
hmm.
Um, Buddy, the Quinn, that was down out in Florida. Trot Boys, James, all of those guys, Mike Ruiz,
Mike Ruiz.
Mandy's, Brian Smoot. Man, I know I'm gonna forget a lot of people, but there's definitely a lot of people out there, man, that have shown me love throughout the career that I've had. Definitely Dave Wilson. I done been to his house. We just sat down, had some really, really good conversations. Definitely can't get off here without talking about Errol. Um, Errol,
Mr.
you
Bolden.
was a
Mr.
guy that's,
Bolden.
been a stand-up guy in my life, man.
Hmm.
Your family, man, first, all that kind of stuff. James Cooper giving me the opportunity
Hmm.
to become a judge and, being in Virginia and loving his stock that he got with that boy over there. Simba got some of his stuff in my yard. Molly down in Georgia with the raw and the beautiful bull she's got. Man, I'm
Boy.
telling you right now, she's one of the most underrated breeders in the game right now. She don't do a lot of talking, a lot of yapping, but her dogs speak for themselves. Let's not forget that. And then my cousin Thomas Broggin, man, we've been side by side through this whole thing. Broggin boys, Chone doing his thing down there with Duval, Jerome, all of those guys, man. Definitely want to just give a shout out to the people that I definitely feel like deserve it. But for me, if I had to give you any advice moving forward, man, at the end of the day, stay true to yourself. Hey, Brandon Hazelwood, don't think I forgot you, big dog. You're like a brother to me, man. Renee, the family, all of y'all. Don't think I forgot about you, Kyle Harris. Now that I'm thinking, my mind running, definitely can't leave you guys out. Cannonball Bullies, because I know they're gonna be in my inbox calling me like, "Yo, you forgot me? You didn't got bougie." I haven't, man. It's late, but definitely want to give this advice to people, man. And it has nothing to do with the bully community, but it's just, in life in general, man. Um, do right all times. You know what I'm saying? If you got something going on in life, be honest. Be honest. Do right. Be a person of integrity. Be a person of morals. Stand on what you stand on. Don't let anybody push an agenda through you, and definitely be your own person. Don't chase fads, chase your vision, and do good business, man. And always do what's right even when it's not the right thing to do. If you got, if you got a group of people doing the wrong thing, but you stand on what is right, man, you always be able to sleep at night knowing that, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a bone in my body that has malice towards anybody in the bully community. And I can honestly say that. Nico, Jess Cook, those people down there, can't forget to shout y'all out because y'all been somebody that's been there for me throughout this whole process as well. But that would be my thing right there, man. If you can be the person that you are in real life on social media, you doing good. You're doing good because that's my biggest thing right there. I'll see somebody on social media, and then I'll see them out in the bully community, and I'm like, it ain't adding up. So for me,
Mm-hmm.
I try to stay away from that person, man. Don't have no problem with him, but I know for a fact, me being me, I can't be around him. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I'll kind of keep my distance. But all in all, the bully community has shown me so much love, man. It's opened doors for me as a young kid that come from nothing. I've been able to see the world. I've been able to meet a lot of great people. I've been able to have a lot of great experiences because of a dog, man. So I'll forever be indebted to this American bully breed. And I think for me, it's only getting better. I feel like I got so much more to give to the community. And, once football season's over with, man, I'm going to get right back to it. If anybody throwing any shows and y'all want to get me out there, definitely hit me up. But I got a family. We're a sports oriented family. So you got to get me while I got it. You know what I'm saying? 365 Kennels, Ashton and JJ. Definitely got to shout y'all out, man.
That's your
But
daughters, your son and
uh,
daughter.
yeah, they
Yeah.
they ripping and running, playing all sports, man. And then
Mm-hmm.
with my schedule as a coach as well, we're kind of busy, but I definitely got to make time for the bully community as well because that's something that's on my heart. That's my passion. So with that being said, brother, I appreciate you having me on, man. Praises to you and your wife, man. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing. Love y'all, man. Love the bully
Love you
community.
too, brother.
And as I was saying on all my posts, you know me, man. Team Powerhouse, whatever you want to call it. I don't even got my little kennel name no more, man. It's just for me, it's the Broggin boys. We doing our thing, man. And we call it the Fully Loaded Project for one reason, because I feel like in our kennel, man, we got everything. We got the fully loaded, we got the whole package. You got colors if you want it, you got championship titles if you want it, you got great dogs, you got good pets, you got all that kind of stuff. We try to give you what you want, man, all tied up in one. Good health, things like that. No dog is perfect, but we call it the fully loaded kennel for one reason, because we try to make sure our dogs are fully loaded. Titles, structure, movement, all the little characteristics. We try to check the boxes off. So, with that being said, the fully loaded kennel, where being a bully is a good thing. Peace.
You be easy, fam.
Yes, sir. You too, boss. Take it
Yes,
easy.
sir. I'm gonna hit you up. All right.
Know it. All right.
Yes,
Peace.
sir. Yep. Hey, man, I would like to thank Daniel for coming on, man. The Broggin boys, man. Like he said, man. Me and his cousin, we're cool, man. We tapped in as well, man. So yo, he rocking y'all to sleep too. Cause he got some dogs over there, boy. And he coming back, he coming back out for sure. So y'all watch out for that. While he trying to rock y'all to sleep, I'm waking y'all ass up, and I'm telling you, this brother got something over there, and he gonna wake y'all up, or he's putting it together. You heard what he said. You heard what he said, man. And if you know, you know. But if you don't, you gonna find out. Um, I just want to give honors to Daniel again. I mean, I'm talking about, man, this brother, man, means a lot to me, man. He it's hard to find people in this dog world that's gonna keep it a buck with you, man. That's not gonna tell you what you want to hear, but tell you what's real. It's hard to find people like that in this world in general. So when you find somebody like that in the dog game that doesn't have any agenda, that is not trying to gain anything from you, you know, that's honestly trying to see you bring out your best, even if that means him catching the slug while giving you that knowledge. So I'd like to give my appreciations to him and everything that he's done for me in this dog world, man, because without his example, I can't honestly tell you I would be where I'm at right now. Just like he gave all those people those shout outs. And I try to tell y'all, this person my mentor, that person my, and I had a friend tell me, or my wife actually said, damn, you got everybody you talk to is your mentor. I try to get all my mentors on this podcast. I try to get everybody that taught me something to help me excel in this dog world and this show ring to be on here. So everybody you see that's on this podcast has helped me tremendously, has helped me, and has put me in a position to win, whether it's giving me game verbally or letting me see it. All right. So y'all be easy, man. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all watch out for Sunday evening, American Bully Church, American Evening Church. We're gonna have a nice toast, right? For my guy. He's getting married. We'll leave all that for tomorrow. We'll leave all that for tomorrow. I think he got married today. Let me see. Mr. Jerry Jamies. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Mr. Jerry Jamies. I think he got married today. So you my mentor for real in the real world, though, Jamae. Jamae in the real world, not a dog world, in the real world. That's my brother Jamae right there. I forgot 401. That's my brethren. We're gonna have a toast to Mr. Jerry Jamies for getting married, and we're gonna do that as a group tomorrow. So y'all be easy, man. Y'all have a blessed night. I hope y'all got some good gems from this edition of No Bullish TV, because I had to have Daniel on, man. I had to have him on because it's just he and I think he was holding back a little bit. To be honest with you, I think he was holding back a little bit. Because this man got so much knowledge about this dog game is crazy. You know, we didn't touch on a lot of things, man, but he's a very busy man. And I just didn't want to take up too much of his time. But we I think we're gonna run it back one day. We're gonna run it back while we have an open panel, so y'all will see what he's really talking about, right? You get the real full view of it when we have people on here for open panels, because they really drop jewels on these open panels. It's not about them. The spotlight's not on about them. The spotlight's on the actual dogs. And they open up a little bit more. So I'd like to thank him for taking his time for jumping on here. Shout out to him. Shout out to his family. That's another thing. He's a extraordinary family man. And yeah, I just like to thank him again. Thank y'all for watching. Y'all please share, like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. It's free. It doesn't cost a dime. I don't ask for nobody to send me any money, my Cash App. I don't do that, because I do this for the love of it. All right. So y'all have a wonderful night. See y'all Sunday evening, and y'all stay blessed.